Minasan, konbanwa. Good evening to you all. If I am correct using Google Translator, this is the buonasera, bonsoir, good evening, given by Japanese people to Japanese people. And it was the way I wanted to say hello, ciao, welcome back on iKeysRacing. And especially welcome back on a new theme. But the most important thing compared to my new theme or the game base I usually love to use, that is GTR2 with Power and Glory. Recently I did really fall in love with this game and with all the possibility that it has. Gives the chance to tell a new story, maybe not really well known in Europe, who knows in America, but almost 40 years ago, I would say specifically 40 years ago, there was a crazy moment in the land of the rising sun, my beloved Japan, where people 40 years before myself went crazy for the Group C sport prototypes content offered by many European and not only European manufacturers. Porsche is the main one for sure, having this translation of the World Sports Car Championship into the land of the rising sun, specifically with the All Japan Sport Prototypes Championship. That is the one that we are going to almost reproduce with a 7 episodes series, very quick, with 1 hour race each, surfing the Japanese country for beautiful tracks, luckily not maybe well known here in Europe or in US, but that I think they deserve to be mentioned, to be raced and to be known. The first one today is the Autopolis racetrack, or Autopolis, if I pronounce it correctly. That is a 4.6 kilometers, also 2.9 miles long racetrack, an international racing circuit located near the Kamitsue village in Ōita Prefecture, Japan, 30 kilometers northeast of Kumamoto. It was opened in 1990. It hosted a range of domestic and international motorsports events throughout the year, and the track is noted to have a high standard of facilities and infrastructures. Luckily, due to the circuit ending up in financial difficulties, troubles, issues, it has changed hands several times, but fortunately still operates to this day. As Europeans, maybe we have seen the Autopolis or Autopolis name sponsoring what was the Benetton Formula 1 racing team at the end of the 80s, at the beginning of the 90s, as an average period. And that was the first action of marketing that the creator of this beautiful venue, Mr. Tomonori Tsurumaki-san, decided to invest his well-known healthy money situation to a new concept for racetracks. And it did, because he asked also a very important help from a designer that was Yoshitoshi Sakurai, that back in the 60s was the project leader of the Honda F1 team. To properly launch the racetrack internationally, Tsurumaki-san ordered 30 Buick-powered United States-built single-seater race cars called Sabelt car for a race to take place on his circuit grand opening on November 1990. It consisted of a mixture of invited US kart drivers like Stan Fox, John Rutherford, Dick Simon, Gary and Tony Bettenhausen against local Japanese drivers. Unluckily, the only major international race held at Autopolis was the final race of the 1991 World Sports Car Championship season, the 91 430 kilometers of Autopolis. That maybe you don't know, or maybe yes, was won by Michael Schumacher and Karl Denlinger driving a Mercedes-Benz C291 fielded by Peter Sauber organization or Sauber Racing Team. To promote the venue, as said, nothing was left to pure casualty, with the hope to host very soon a Formula One race. Unluckily, it never happened, following the bankruptcy and collapse of the Tsurumaki company, the back then named Nippon 3 Trust. In '93, the year that the track was supposed to hold an F1 race, the circuit and other assets he owned ended up in the hands of Hazama, who was the responsible for the construction of the racetrack. At the end, the track F1 event slot for the Asian Grand Prix on the 11 April 1993 was given to Donington Park, and the following year, the TI Circuit AIDA would have hosted a second Japanese race in Formula One calendar in '94, but suffered then from the same location-related criticism and was removed at the end of the following season. By '95, the company offered the site for sale at 10% of its build cost, which consisted of 3 hotels, swimming pools, and an artificial sky slope. But the destiny of Autopolis racetrack luckily did consist also in some good news. Hosted a Super GT race in 1999, the season-ending exhibition race, which was won by the European Netherland Tom Coronel and Hidetoshi Mitsu Sade in a Honda NSX GT, fielded by Nakajima Racing. After a 3-year absence, the circuit has regularly been hosting races in the series since 2003, although with some exceptions. First held a Super Formula race in 2006, and with some exceptions, the track has regularly been part of the series since then. In 2005, the bike manufacturer, and not only, Kawasaki, acquired the Autopolis racetrack facilities. The circuit currently holds events for the Super GT, the D1 Grand Prix, the Super Formula, the MFJ Superbike, and Super Taikyu categories. In March 2019, the circuit was added to the video game Gran Turismo Sport, thanks to a game update, and it has also been featured in Need for Speed Pro Street and Need for Speed Shift and Shift 2 Unleashed. The circuit itself is located in an upland area of the island, which means the air is thin with low atmospheric pressure, similar to the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City. It has an elevation change of over 50 meters, 160 feet, with the first section generally downhill and the latter part of the course runs uphill. The start-finish straight, where the picture for the cover of this episode has been shot, is located at an altitude of 820 meters, 2,690 feet. I'm more than happy to give you the welcome to the All Japan Sports Prototype Championship. that unluckily never raced here, but I thought that was the best choice to give an opportunity also to this beautiful racetrack and bring as much as possible all the Japanese prototypes that between 83 and 92 participated, ran, won into this national championship, or at least cars with Japanese sponsorship, to be here today to have a look to some not very known liveries, cars, sponsors, drivers in a very special category that was formed by the Japan Automobile Federation with the intent to create a domestic championship to take place in Japan for Group C and IMSA GTP prototypes, and also featured cars that were eligible for touring car racing in its earlier years. Class A and Class B for production cars, which were defined by the FIA Group A and Group B and elite category. Class C would be for cars that were similar to IMSA Camel Lights and the WEC C2 classes. Instead, the Class D was for C1 and GTP cars. The series began in 1983 as All Japan Endurance Championship, an endurance championship with an intention to replace its domestic touring car championship, and started out as a 3-round event, including one which, as it was part of the WEC round, that meant that drivers competing in the national series were counted into the World Championship for that season. In 1987, the championship would be broken up into two, as production cars from the lower categories would be moved into the All Japan Touring Car Championship, now called Super GT, formed 2 years earlier to become a dedicated championship, and was renamed the All Japan Sport Prototype Car Endurance Championship. The series was noted throughout its 10 years run for battles between the various Porsches 956, 962C and Japanese manufacturers, presented by works team of Toyota, Nissan and Mazda. Due to the waning popularity and seeking to prevent the spiraling budgets and the disappearance of Group C and IMSA GTP, the Japanese Automobile Federation would have dissolved in a couple of months the series at the end of 92, and for the following year replaced the series with the All Japan Grand Touring Car Championship, using GT cars such as those in secondary classes as major international sports car series worldwide favored the Grand Tourers, similar to IMSA lower GTS and GTU classes. This was not to be anyway the end for Group C cars, as they would be allowed to compete in the newly formed series for 2 more years before being banished altogether. Major sports car racing in Japan would return again in 2006 with the short-lived Japan Le Mans Challenge. We can mention the winning drivers and the winning manufacturer. This is the brief history of the All Japan Sports Prototype Championship. In some way, we will run all the seasons because we will allow all the cars available, thanks to Group C, IMSA GTP and some Grand Tourers vehicles. We will run on Suzuka, we will run on the Fuji Speedway, we will run on the Tsukuba circuit, we will visit Sportsland Sugo, we will race also on the Mine circuit, and we will not forget the Okayama International Circuit, back then for Formula 1 fans known as the TI AIDA circuit. So, to sum up what is the project, this little project, in 7 hours, 1 hour per race, we will take our wheels into the 7 most important racetracks of Japan to say hello to our Japanese friends, to thank them properly, to be a beautiful country, a beautiful nation from a cultural point of view, from traditions point of view, and for being so special, so unique compared to the rest of the world. And really, with all the love that I have for Japan and for Japanese people, I hope very soon to visit their beautiful country as soon as possible. So, dear Japanese friends, thank you very much, arigato, and welcome on the iKeysRacing channel, All Japan Sports Prototype Edition in some way. In 7 hours I will try to tell to the world the beauty of your country, of your tradition, of your passions, of your attitudes, of your habits, of your everything. Again, arigato. Okie dokie, here in the menu for the car presentation I start from the few GTP cars and the GT1, GT2 and GT3 cars to start to approach the fulfillment did to complete the starting field for this 40 slot appointment at the Autopolis racetrack. So I start with the GTP Porsche 962 of the Kalajan or Kalajan Racing. Reason why is included because there is a Japanese sponsor, Minolta, cameras and lenses producer. The car is pretty nice as a Porsche 962 colored with this beautiful penthouse sponsorship and STS. Doc Bundy is the driver. 2 Nissans coming from the end of the 80s of the IMSA championship. The model was this ZXT, year 88, with the number 83 and 84 of the Electramotive Engineering. We have the first car with at the wheel Geoff Brabham. The second one will give for the IMSA GTP Camel original appointment Derek Daly, but being a Nissan couldn't miss this appointment. The technical side was about a V6 3-liter turbocharged petrol engine that was, let's say, also aligned with that period with the V6 confrontation with Buick and Chevrolet. Still from there, a Nissan R91 CK, the year is 92, Nova Engineering. The combination of the From A STP sponsorship to me sounded always very nice. Bridgestone, the Japanese producer of tires. The technical specification was for a V8 turbocharged petrol engine. Then, to fulfill the starting grid and give a bit of a challenge also for us driving prototypes, you may recall maybe some of these cars coming from the BPR season in the mid-90s, and especially for our Around the World in 24 Hours project. So we have a GT1 Honda NSX Turbo, year 95, raced at Le Mans in that year. This, as said, was the turbo version of the V6 2.7 liter. At the wheel, you may remember the German Hane, Bertrand Gachot, that is a Belgian anyway, I don't understand why the flag of Europe, and the Italian Ivan Capelli. I must correct myself, the displacement was for a 2.9 liters. Still GT1, the famous Nissan Skyline R33 GTR LM, year 96, directly from the Nismo official Nissan racing team. The Line 6 engine was a 2.7 liter turbocharged, so that's why I was mismatching the cubic inches between this car and the previous Honda NSX. At the wheel, Suzuki and Kageyama-san. Still GT1 with both the Toyota Tim Tom's Supra 95 edition with the beautiful Marlboro sponsorship. At the wheel, the number 36 JJ Leto and Yannick Dalmat, the number 37 Pierre-Henri Raffanel and Philippe Alliot. Such a beautiful beast, capable to match basically the performances of Hondas and Nissan, with just a 2.2 liter Line 4 biturbo engine, spreading out over 600 brake horsepower. only and lonely GT2 car, coming still from Honda, with the NSX naturally aspirated, with the same V6 engine, 2.9 liters, but with a bit less of torque and power. Last GT car added to create a bit of troubles for us driving prototypes is the GT3 version of the same chassis, same model. Again, the power output is a bit less powerful than the GT1 category, especially the turbo version, but she is still a V6 car equipped. At the wheel, Kurosawa Tanaka Satou-san. That's it for the GTs. So let's go starting from the real Group C that at least once participated in the All Japan Sports prototype. We start our journey, and in one race we will drive this beauty, the Toyota TS010 of the Toyota Team Toms, one of the last Japanese car to participate also in the World Endurance Championship or World Sports Car Championship here in Europe. We have an equipe of 3 drivers, Geoff Lees, David Brabham and the Japanese Ukyo Katayama. The car was a naturally aspirated V10 engine, 3.5 liters, that few years later, obviously updated, we would have seen in Formula 1 with the Toyota Formula 1 team. The number 8 will bring, with this beautiful sponsorship and different paint scheme, Jan Lammers and my hero Andy Wallace. Still Toyota, the model is the 92CV, divided in 2 versions, the Kids Racing Team with Sard and the Trust Racing. Year 92, the first one had the lucky side to be driven by the late Roland Ratzenberger, the Swede Elg, and the more than nice Irish driver Eddie Irvine, here registered with a UK flag instead of the correct one coming from Ireland. The car was seen at Le Mans and was powered by a V8 twin turbo named R32. The Trust Racing car has a different paint scheme with the Nisso sponsorship. At the wheel, the South African Fuchs and the Swedes Askar and Stefan Johansson, again another model seen at Le Mans. 2 years earlier, the 1990 model R90CV of the Toyota Team Toms for the Group C again, Johnny Dumfries and the Italian Roberto Ravaglia at the wheel of the 36, the 37 with the Taka Q sponsorship, with Geoff Lees and John Watson inside the cockpit. 4 different versions of the 962C from Porsche. We start with the 2 Kremers, then the Advan Alfa Nova and the Takefuji Chopin Racing Team. Let's start with the first, the number 10 Blue Kenwood sponsored, with at the wheel Joe Gardner, Sarel van der Merwe and Mr. Takahashi San. Beautiful livery, definitely. The blue one, still with the Japanese Kenwood manufacturer of appliances and electrical devices for home, the French Jean-Pierre Jarier, Mike Tuckwell and Franz Conrad. Again, another model seen also at Le Mans. The Advan Alfa Nova is this beauty, maybe seen in many flyers or marketing pages on magazines back then, with Kunimitsu and Kenji-san. Last but not least, the Takefuji Chopin Racing Team with the beautiful Kanji sponsorship. At the wheel, Jean-Pierre Jarier, Brian Redman and the Swede Elg. We get now the 962 GTI from the Richard Lloyd Racing, 2 very similar models. The Richard Lloyd Racing, number 14, the one we have seen, if I'm not wrong, also in Around the World in 24 Hours episode celebrating Women's Day. At the wheel, Reuter and Weaver, James Weaver. The number 43, more covered and specifically aerodynamically prepared, still with Reuter, Weaver, but also JJ Leto for the 24 Hours of Le Mans. The differences are easily visible. I would guess with also small winglets applied at the front for Le Mans, and especially for the top speed Hunadier requirements back then, no winglet at the front and the rear end of the car completely covered for a better aerodynamically behavior on long straights. Model 962, this time the CK6 version. We will see from 88 and 89, all three from the Porsche Kremer Racing. The first one with the Yokohama sponsorship with Chris Nissen and Volker Widler, the number 10, Bruno Giacomelli, the Italian, and the Argentinian Oscar Larrauri. Very similar, but with Sekiya, Okada, and George Fuchs, or Fouché. I don't know the right pronunciation, sorry, Mr. George. Still Leighton House, very similar from a Leighton House sponsorship point of view, but was anyway already a car seen at Le Mans. The basic 962 model will bring just a Bridgestone sponsorship, but comes from the base-sided disposal IMSA GTP category, so I will correct the Group C indication, but I did like the contamination of GTP cars, as said, with at least one sponsor coming from the land of the rising sun. We go backwards in history, the 956B Nova Engineering, again with the From A sponsorship and STP, at the wheel Oguchi and Hiro-san. Year was 84. We finish with a Porsche from 83, so really the dawn of the Group C category, with the Swap Shop Alpha Racing, at the wheel Kuni Takahashi, Preston Hen and John Paul Jr. You can notice some advanced Japanese sponsorship, but mainly was a car I wanted to have here to fulfill the starting field. The last Porsche will be the one we will drive, the Canon sponsored Richard Lloyd 1985 number 14 GTI 956 model. Originally was driven by Jonathan Palmer and James Weaver. I also take the opportunity to say hello to my father, that like me, and especially thanks to him, is a Canon owner of maybe too many cameras, but really such a gift from technology, because also with the recap of the Daytona 24 hours I attended some days ago, pictures and videos will all come from these beautiful cameras that allow people to bring home beautiful memories wherever they are basically used. Also a donkey and a lemon like me, not only at driving a race car, but also shooting photographs, believe me, can bring home some special images thanks to the Japanese manufacturer. I do not receive money to say so, it's just a personal user experience. Finished with the Porsches, we start with the rest of the Group C. Jaguar participated back then in the All Japan Sports Prototypes Championship with Jeff Krosnoff, the late Jeff Krosnoff, and Mauro Martini at the wheel of this beauty car that was a V8 Ford HP engine powered, the same you have seen with Benetton and not only Formula 1 racing team. Then we will start and finish with this second subgroup with Japanese manufacturers, starting from Mazda. The model is the 767, a 4 rotors rotary engine, more or less the same seen winning at Le Mans or winning many times each single class category at Le Mans and not only. The livery is very beautiful, I hope to drive at least once this car. Shiratori and Shimizu-san at the wheel. Year 91. The same year but with a more, I would say, updated model, the 787 from the Mazda Speed official racing team. Again, 4 rotors, 2.6 liters, naturally aspirated, a crazy horsepower available despite not supercharging the engine with turbo or whatever else. The car had an Irish Kennedy and a Belgian Dudon at the wheel. Was the number 56, the number 58 is the same model. This time we have the two Japanese, Terada and Yorino-san. We couldn't miss also the model 787B, same year, 91, but the last evolution, again with Yorino and Terada, much more an evolution than the simple, 787. Mazda will also give 3 models that are basically the XJR14 of the 91, registered for 92, as Mazda MX-R01, but believe me, they are the same car that few years later would have received a cut of the roof of the cockpit to become a world sports car Porsche TWR, winning then 95 and 96 or 96 and 97 the 24 hours of Le Mans. I do not remember the right date back then. Anyway, this model seen also with Around the World in 24 Hours with Volker Widler, Johnny Herbert and Bertrand Gachot with the renowned sponsorship. Then we go back to the Kajima sponsorship, seen also at the 24 Hours of Le Mans with Sala Yorino Terada, beautiful in white. Number 5, Mazda original sponsorship. The equipe was the same, Sala Yorino Terada, but was not the 24 Hours Le Mans livery. With Nissan we are going to close this presentation. The NP35 ER93 that basically never raced because was the demise of the Group C and the end for the World Sports Car Championship. Thank you Bernie Eccleston. The engine was a naturally aspirated V12 3.5 liters that unluckily never arrived to Formula 1, but I would say maybe better like this, and who knows if one day we will ever see a Nissan V12 again on a racetrack. But the model was absolutely clean, neat, very beautiful. Then we get the 1990 year with Nissan Motorsport bringing their R90CK, seen at Le Mans, not maybe in this version but generally yes. At the wheel Mark Blundell and Kenneth Exon, or Ekesson, I don't know the right pronunciation. If you happen to visit YouTube and maybe try Nissan Le Mans Mark Blundell pole position for a special edition of Le Mans, the camera car was absolutely crazy. The R90 but CP version, still from the Nissan Motorsport, another beauty, aerodynamically I would say undisputable, this time with Azemi San and Olofsson the Swede ace. That's it. We will go on track with the Canon Porsche 956 GTI with also the special, let me say so, graphically updated version with a front wing that was not always present in this model. I think it will be a nice choice. I've never driven a Porsche before today, apart from the offline testing I did, but really brief to find out a more or less acceptable car setup. And for me will be also the first time on a Porsche prototype of the 80s. So let's go to qualify this car, hopefully not last, and then to discover what maybe I will achieve or not during race day. So see you in the next chapter. Here we are. So with 24 minutes to go, I load the previous car setup tried offline. I just had my practice time with basically a wet session. So for this one I will go with this figure for the part 1. So if you want you can screenshot and try it at home. The second part is this one. The only thing I'm going to do for the qualifying session just is, yes, let's say 6 laps and will be 4 or 5 launched and pushed. Soft tires, that's it. Reference time 1:26.999. That is a Porsche 962 of the Takefuji Shupan Racing Team, driven by Derek Bell and Brian Redman, and the first Porsche 956 compatible with my 956 GTI Canon sponsored. It's a 129.7, so if I succeed on I would say maybe scoring yes, not over the 1 minute 30-31 seconds, I would be decently happy for myself. Anyway, let's go on track and let's see what happens. Exiting from the pit, we approach the first corner, second gear. Okay, last corners. First lap will be just to qualify the car, then we will push. So main straight, because we didn't have the possibility to have a lap with our cars in the presentation. Second gear for the first corner. It starts closed, then enlarged at the end. Full throttle. Second gear closes, then opens. Third, a double left corner. And then you have to go down again in second gear to approach the first hairpin. Full throttle. A bit of understeer. Cars are warming up. And here we are with the slowest hairpin that is also the slowest part of the track. Then again, third gear.
Alright, careful now. Looks like there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Sector 3.
And now some corners that they start large, so then close while you are cornering. I think that the second gear is the most used in this track. Reference 39, my bad. Let's retry one more time.
Alright, careful now. Looks like there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Sector 3.
57.3, not very good to be fair.
sector 3.
36 and just one more lap to use. But it's a P30. Very bad indeed. And I've lost the line. So I could say not really best effort from my side. Okay, I don't think I have more performance than this. So I'm going to the pit in a second and decide to start from P30 and that's it. I must admit the car is very understeering compared to the free practice I did before offline. I'm not going to anyway kill myself and your lifetime to try again 10 laps of qualifying. It's okay, we can go directly to race. Okay, let's accelerate the last 10 minutes. Our P13 is, well, the slowest of the prototypes, considering that the Mazda's MXR01 and the Nissan NP35 are not currently running. Another good sign. I'm absolutely the slowest here today at Autopolis or Autopolis. Let's wait to have, like Sela suggests, all the session accelerated until all the cars will come to the pit. Yes, maybe this Nissan Skyline is outside, trapped on track. The setup will be just 65 liters for each stint. The race is 1 hour, so we will cover basically more than 30 minutes per stint. Hopefully it will be decently arranged to be a successful race, at least trying to recover from the P30, at least in the top 10. Another thing that happened during practice was the need to use hard compound at the front, because the front end of the car tends to overheat very much during the heavy load when you use the full load or almost the full load of fuel. So that's it. Let's go to the grid. Wish me luck and see you in a second. Good. All the effort to qualify the car in P30, we started 36 because of the bug of GTR2, despite the suggestions of Sela. That's it. See you from the green flag. So trying to do just one pit stop.
Green flag.
Already.
Stay safe, man, and good luck. Good luck.
We are 1 kilometer far from the start-finish line. Why? Because there were 2 GT cars in front, maybe it was slow. here. Can be very sneaky. Yes. P27. Is an army behind us. understeer very pleasant. And look the rear tires. Orange and green, and were red before. Overdriving the car, not in the way she is intended to be driven. So maybe the hard compound was much better also at the rear. I fear we will have to battle with the understeer for the rest of the race. Oops, this is a mistake. Big like a house. I've completely lost the momentum to brake in the right side, sorry, in the right part of the track. Sorry for ruining the race also. James Weaver and Mr. Ōita. But we were battling for the win.
Alright, careful now. Looks like there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Sector 3.
So definitely not a good start for my season career in Japan. And who knows why rear tires are going to be overheated at the end of the straight. And in 7 laps, I received 79 seconds of gap from the leader, Derek Bell, Brian Redman.
Alright, careful now. Looks like there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Sector 3.
They are not nuts. I'm just a lemon.
Careful now. Looks like there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Sector 3.
Look at the rear tires, the green boxes. For no particular reason, they get overheated before the braking zone. Okay, 9 laps, 15 minutes in the race, already overlapped by the Porsche 962, the Takefuji Chopin Racing Team, Bell, Redman, leaders, and the Nissan that just passed us is the GTR2+PnG, sorry.
Hey, heads up, there's a yellow flag in Sector 1. Yellow flag in Sector 1.
Is the GTR2+PnG, the Nissan motorsport of the year 1987. A monster back then. In the mid-80s, all the turbo cars, Formula 1, sport prototypes, were already facing the possibility to increase the boost of the turbo and reach even 700, 800 horsepower as small engines of 1.4, 1.6 liters, and in cases like the Porsches with a 3.6 liter, sorry, 2.6 liters turbo, or as said Nissan, Toyota, etc., they were already around 1000 horsepower with chassis maybe were already strong enough for the period. But under some circumstances,
There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. Yellow flag in Sector 2. Eyes open, okay?
they were the leaders. The red car is Bella Redman. They are second. Gardner Takahashi, yes, third placement. Were capable to flex under the extreme G-forces and power of the late prototypes. This is Rosnoff. Don't remember the teammate of Jeff Rosnoff with the Jaguar XJR14 coming from the European World Sports Car Championship with a Ford V8 3.5 liters. The same you have seen in the Benetton Formula 1 of Schumacher, Piquet, Nannini, etc.
sector 2. Yellow flag in sector 2. Eyes open, okay? Careful now, looks like there's a yellow flag in sector 3. Sector 3.
Okay, quick consideration. Half race gone. We are more or less aligned with the strategy. We had the coverage for 32 minutes. Maybe the car drinks a bit less than predicted. This is a good story. Tires are not cooked completely. There is still a bit of green area on the vertical slim rectangles.
Hey, blue flag's waving, man. Gotta pull over.
Thank you. I will also leaving him space to pass. God bless his mother.
Hey, blue flag's waving, man. Gotta pull over. Alright, careful now. Looks like there's a yellow flag in sector 3. Sector 3. Hey, blue flag's waving, man. Gotta pull over. Okay, your pit request is canceled. Pit request canceled.
I was wondering if risking to mount soft tires at the front
Alright, careful now. Looks like there's a yellow flag in sector 3. Sector 3.
oops.
Head limiter on. Watch for your pit space. Watch for your pit space. Okay, slow the car down.
Okay, let's stay with what we have. It's just 25 minutes of race, and maybe we can drop a bit of fuel, because 21 laps in 25 minutes maybe will be more or less 20 laps in 21 laps in 35 minutes completed. Yeah, we will resist for another 20 laps. Should be a quick pit stop, given that it will be just refueling tires and a bit of repair of the aerodynamic side. I think we will lose up to P28 maybe. Maybe yes.
Repairs on the way. Hold for go signal.
Then let's understand if the others will pit or not. Brabham, Gloy of the pit.
Flags waving, man. You gotta pull over.
This one. They are quicker than us, absolutely.
Careful now. Looks like there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Sector 3.
This is what I love of multi-class races, where you can use overlapped cars to take advantage over contender, or when a game has sometimes some bugs on some tracks. And they start to do a sort of train.
Hey, heads up, there's a yellow flag in Sector 1. Yellow flag in Sector 1.
When you are the bug of yourself.
Hey, heads up, there's a yellow flag in Sector 1. Yellow flag in Sector 1. Alright, careful now. Looks like there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Sector 3. Hey, blue flag's waving, man. You gotta pull over. Hey, blue flag's waving, man. You gotta pull over. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. A yellow flag in Sector 2. Eyes open, okay? Hey, blue flag's waving, man. You gotta pull over. Hey, blue flag's waving, man. You gotta pull over. Alright, careful now. Looks like there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Sector 3. Hey, heads up. There's a yellow flag in Sector 1. Yellow flag in Sector 1. Hey, blue flag's waving, man. You gotta pull over. Alright, careful now. Looks like there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Sector 3. Alright, careful now. Looks like there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Sector 3.
Two retirements in front of us, Bella Redman and Takahashi. struggle they have on straight line. Then they will start to be quick. It's very difficult to understand. Maybe 2 laps to go for me in an indecent T18. I don't think that in 2 laps I will catch Kennedy Yorin. Anyway, tires are dropping. They have reached their cliff. So I'm running around 1 second per lap, slower than my ideal pace. Very difficult car to drive in some way. Difficult to drive at the limit for myself, but overall easy to drive. The race is over. We were 30 seconds and 1 lap far from...
Yeah, race over, man. No points this time around. Just bring her back to the pits. Let's get out of here.
We were 1 lap and 37 seconds far from the leader. And I was thinking maybe there was another lap, but at the end, Krosnov, I do not remember the teammate of Jeff Krosnov. Hello, Jeff. And so I was waiting to know if I would have been in the condition to battle with Kennedy Yorino, but they were too far. So with this undecent P17 I start and finish maybe my experience with the Porsche 962, that I must admit is quite a great car to drive when you do not push to the limit. I did struggle to drive it to the limit. Every time I've tried in this single hour of race, I felt, thank you. I was saying I felt always out of place. Pushing really too hard and just wearing more tires, but without in some way the idea to take back something, to take away, sorry, something from what do you have today, everybody? Okay, no? As I was saying before, they were trying to kill me. Again. Okay. Now we are really broken. That's it.
Holy crap, man. Are you okay in there? The marshals are on their way, okay? Sit tight. Just sit tight, alright?
Okay, now we are definitely cooked. 0% here. There is. Here, 0% reliability, so the car is basically broken. Even if we give the control switch to AI, there's nothing that is happening, so we can send everybody to the pit, and yes, the race is over, so we can okay, maybe quit finally, and at least understand that I was completely out of any reasonable performance. Yes, it's true, I was the first to be overlapped by 2 laps, together with Kennedy Yorino with the Mazda 787. True, I arrived in front of a 962 GTI and many others 962, yes, but honestly, I felt completely out of any reasonable place, and I'm happy because Mauro Martini and Jeff Krosnoff instead won with the single lonely Jaguar XJR14 Ford V8 this race. Joe Gartner together with Takahashi San with the Porsche Kremer Racing that completed the second and the third placement with Giacomelli Vidler, so this one is the Leighton House pale blue colored. Then Bailey Blandel with the Nissan R90CK in front of Geoff Lees and John Watson with the Toyota 90CV. Then Dickens Takahashi-san with another Porsche, the 962. Then the 3 Mazda that were not running the qualification. Incredibly, they succeeded on finishing 7th, 8th and 9th. I would guess separated by really few tenths. Last point available for Fouché Sekiya-san with the Porsche 962 CK6. But let's say, as an average consideration, I was 1 lap down compared to the rest of the field, and this time I didn't make major mistakes with the need to repair the car. Were just, wide corners or late braking action, but really for the first time since I play GTR2, GT Legends, GP4, etc., I really felt far more inferior than the car I had in my hands. So I would say not a great result from my personal opinion, but also at least we have seen a Porsche inside the cockpit was not seen with my episodes of Around the World in 24 hours. Plus, nice to see that the battle between Porsches, Jaguars, Nissan, Toyota, etc. and Mazdas is very tight, competitive, and this is a good sign. So the mod created not by myself but by the modders and the programmers is absolutely well made. So this is the classification where, as usual, Jaguar will get as a winner 20 points, 15 plus 12 for the Porsches, 10 for the Nissan, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1 and so on, but I would say not bad for the first All Japan Sports Prototype Championship, in some way reproduced. From a lap time point of view, I think I was absolutely far from a decent performance. At the end I was just quicker. This is a knife inside my heart. I was just quicker than the Mazda 767. 138 best performance, 129 best overall performance. Honestly, here at Autopolis we will see then maybe with different tracks, but I don't know where I was losing 10 seconds. I mean, around 5 kilometers for sure I was losing 2 seconds for each kilometer, and because I had the same top speed of many other Group C cars, I fear that I was losing basically at every corner, tenths here, tenths there, etc. So really not happy, but for the first time in my life playing video games, I don't know where honestly I had so much to lose and so much to gain, vice versa, around the track. So we will see maybe if it was just a single occasion where I was not trained enough to drive a Porsche 956, or if the model was really struggling, because yes, also true, also Reuter Weaver were around 137, also the other Reuter Weaver with the other Porsche, they were 136. I would say not so far, but compared to the leaders that were all Porsches 962, really, I don't know where those seconds are. I mean, I know where they are. I don't know how to get rid of those gaps at every corner. This is the first episode. I will continue anyway with the rest of the season in the next month, and so I can only say thank you very much for watching and following me so far. Sorry for the poor performance, but maybe I did eat too much sushi and sashimi, and so maybe I was overweight, at least for this appointment. From Autopolis, from Monza, from Marco, from the All Japan Sports Prototype Championship, bye bye, thank you very much, thank you for watching, see you very soon, thank you and arigato again. Ciao, see you soon.